DEPIN is absolutely exploding right now, and if you're on the sidelines wondering what you should do, or if you're in it wondering if you should sell, I'm going to talk about that in this video. Mostly just about the state of the market, of what the problems that they're trying to address, and where we can kind of see that expect to go, because there really is a lot of hype around this, and obviously a lot of it is kind of driven by hype and forward thinking. Obviously we don't kind of have those revenues in those projects yet, but the scope for this is absolutely massive. I have spoken about this in a few other videos, so if you were subscribed, you would have got in at render, much lower price, and also just known about this narrative, which I think is going to be by far the biggest narrative in crypto this bull market. So I don't think it's too late yet. Definitely you're going to be getting less returns, but if you subscribe now, you can find those projects that we'll be talking about before everyone else jumps in. So I did actually talk about on a previous video a new project similar to Render. So if you do want to just find out more about this industry, because I don't think enough people are talking about how big this is, especially even in the real world right now, right? Like we have obviously NVIDIA just absolutely exploding. Everyone's just hyping on NVIDIA. It is now bigger than Google as a company, which is absolutely insane. It was called by Goldman Sachs the most important company on the planet right now. And what do they sell? They sell chips. And it is the most important company because they are selling chips to the AI industry. And obviously with the new AI models coming out, I don't know if any of you ever played, but I specialize in SEO as well, and we were using the very early versions of ChatGPT, which were the 3 model, the 2.5 I think we even used, and all you could produce was say 100 characters in a block. And if you were trying to produce a blog post, you would have to stitch all these pieces together, and it kind of didn't really make sense. And what it would also do as well, because it was quite bad, it would produce 4 paragraphs for you, and you could pick one that you thought was kind of the better one, because it just wasn't very good. And coming from GPT-3 to 3.5, this industry absolutely exploded, more than you can even think. So, okay, maybe there's not massive amounts of compute difference between the 3 and the 3.5, but what it opened up and changed is absolutely huge. And the reason I'm going into this is because I want you to understand where this space is heading. And it's just heading there faster than anything has ever gone anywhere before. Like I've shown the graph before, but OpenAI took 2 months to get to 100 million users. 100 million users, that's insane. Where Spotify took 11 years, Netflix took 10 years. Because if you think about it, the practical applications of ChatGPT are insane. We use it a lot for like blog posting, guest posting, all of my other kind of business entities, because it's just so useful. It just sells itself, right? Whereas Spotify, you're getting music, but you could kind of get it otherwhere. There was other platforms, or even with Netflix, it's like you can go watch TV on TV, you're gonna go outside. But if you are writing content and you need to up your content output, you're gonna use GPT. Or if you're just searching and you want some question answered, you're gonna use GPT. And now we've just seen Sora released. It does these amazing videos. I was having a look at it, analysis, and it looks incredible.
If you're Google, by the way, but I will caveat that as with
the video that I was looking at, AI Explained, so they did a pretty good video on this. And it's great. So it's producing these amazing quality videos, and like just basically shows about it. These are all very, very, very cool. But the problem with this right now, and I was trying to look at the data, I'll see if I can find it. So here it is. Someone running the calculations on Sora. Because even with GPT, it's just producing text, but the size of videos is insane. Like if you've ever saved a text file, it might be like 2 pages and it'll be like 12 kilobytes. If you save like a 1-minute video, it's suddenly like 100 megabytes, depending on the definition. So this is someone just running the calculations on Sora, and this is just 24 frames per second, blah, blah, blah. Don't know too much about all of this, but a 1-minute video is apparently $700. So maybe today it can also create videos on international quality. So it's cheaper if you're producing obviously cinematic quality compared to if you're a film studio, but that's still a film studio. If you're making a video, but for the average Joe, you're not just going to put $700 down on a video that, if you actually look at the state of Sora right now, there's actually a lot of issues that it's not actually rendering things properly. It doesn't know physics properly. I don't know how exactly it works, probably running on Unreal Engine 5. But my point is, this is still very, very early technology. And we don't understand the application of how this is going to change things, because like I say, with GPT, we've got hundreds of millions of users using this for things you can never imagine before. You can scale up your content output, etc. And if you also look at, for example, when Instagram, etc. was released, it allows people like me to just produce videos pretty much next to nothing other than my time and obviously an editor. And before those platforms, all we had was TV, etc. So it now allows the average Joe to do things that they were never able to do before, and it changes the landscape. We don't know the application of this when it becomes cheaper. So if this becomes super cheap, maybe anyone can make their own movies. You wouldn't have to go to a film studio to produce it. You just write in a load of text prompts, etc. It could very much change a lot of things, and we will become dependent on AI. And again, just wrapping this round, what is the point of this? This requires insane amounts of compute power. Like, the compute power is insane. It's so expensive. So if we're looking at something like this, we need an alternative. If you look in Nvidia, the stock price has absolutely rallied recently because they had record earnings and now at a market cap of 2 trillion, which is insane. Their P ratio has actually come down because they actually beat estimated earnings, but they still cannot produce chips fast enough, and demand for compute power is absolutely outstripping the supply. Nvidia can't produce these fast enough. There is a company in the Netherlands who produces the fabrication machines, and these fabrication machines cost something like 200 million per machine, and to get even the ones that can produce the right chips, etc., it's just very, very difficult for them to do that. So the only way that we can get the compute power is by tapping into chips that already exist. And this is where Render, etc., Akash all come into the mix. And actually the coin prices have rallied off the back of Nvidia. So we've obviously seen, it even says here that it sparks rally for AI tokens. So Render and Akash have skyrocketed off the back of this. So there's so much hype in this, and it's very hard to split that because there's so much hype and shit's just gone up sky high, but also the demand and everything is still going sky high because we're seeing new releases every few months at the moment, and the speed is just insane. So deciding on where we are in this market is quite difficult. Obviously we've seen huge rallies already, and it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Should you be investing? Should you not be investing? And the answer is kind of both. I think where we are now, I think we're going to start to see a lot of people taking profits, which we have done. So a lot of people are taking profits. I don't really think we're going to fall around this level as we sort of are bouncing around. I still think we're going to see some big rallies from here. I still think the price target for me for the end of this bull market is probably around $25. Go higher, but I would say that's sort of a safe bet for me, around $25, $30. So I don't think it's huge realistically. Obviously the AI hype is sort of pushed this up a lot, but realistically a lot of this is coming off the back of Nvidia as well. Their share price is going sky high. So for Render, I think a sort of price target is around 25, and that is around sort of November, December, January mark. We should see a 3x from here, and from there you should just sell, in my opinion, not financial advice, and then wait for the next bull market, because we're going to see insane gains on Render by then, because we'll see the crypto winter, and then by then they will have massive revenue growths, because it takes them a lot of time to start to build the foundation of the chips for people to come on as node operators. It's going to take a fair bit of time for people to start to use this platform, which will eventually drive down the cost, because if there is a widely available amounts of chips and the price comes down, it's like anything, even like with flying back in the 60s or 70s, obviously nobody could really afford it, but when the price comes down, suddenly there are millions of planes in the sky and everyone wants to fly. So it's still very early days, I think, for this industry. I think we've seen massive rallies already. I feel like you're probably going to see bigger gains in Solana at this point, but I wouldn't write it off for the long term. Watch the last video about Aether. I think that project probably has the most to gain in this niche just because it hasn't been released yet, and also they have the most chips that are suitable AI compute. So there's very limited amounts of chips that are actually available for AI compute. So I would actually focus on that one if you are looking for the more degen gains than if you are just believing in Render. But I do think a lot of people are going to take profits now. There'll be a bit of a pullback. but sort of where we are is a good level. I'd say I could say around here, just under 7 is probably a good price target. I'd say around 7 is a good price to buy in. If you have missed this, you have kind of missed it, because the hype is real and the hype has a reason. This is insane what is happening with Sora. Like, it's crazy, the development. So don't write this off. The growth is insane, but the hype is also insane. So just be careful, because if you are investing, if that hype just turns a little bit sour or some bad news comes out, there will be a big dumping, because this isn't based on anything with true value like Solana. Solana has an amazing revenue from its fees. This is a lot of hype. So as soon as some bad news comes out about this in some way, maybe OpenAI isn't developing as much as we thought, or Sora isn't actually as good as we thought, blah blah blah, we don't know, then there's going to be a big dumping. So don't go all in on this. Also look at my last video about Ether. I think that's a great project. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this kind of provides some insight and just the insane hype around this. I'm just trying to get you hyped, because it is just crazy what is happening in this space. So just stay aware. Thanks.